I'm going to tell you the truth. I love Chick-fil-A. It was weird when all that stuff happened. What I'll call the gay stuff. I should probably provide some context. There was at some point a couple, 3-4 years ago when a member of the founding family in Chick-fil-A made some comments about homosexuality or marriage being between a husband and a wife, which I think is one of my favorite things, that people always talk about marriage. And it's even more interesting to me when people use the Bible as an illustration of what marriage should be. There's some interesting marriages in the Bible. I digress. So when that happened, there's some boycotts of Chick-fil-A, and I totally get it. And I don't know, as a family, we may have boycotted for a moment. We no longer boycott. I'm going to be really honest. I love Chick-fil-A. I worked at Chick-fil-A as a child. What's interesting is, no, I say as a child, when I was 14. I'm so old now that 14's my childhood, which I guess I was. But anyway, what's interesting about the Chick-fil-A where I worked is that it was owned and managed by two men involved in a committed relationship. They were as much married as my mom and dad were. It's interesting, isn't it? Ironic, maybe? Anyway, at my local Chick-fil-A, I noticed we were in line behind a gay couple, two gentlemen who were intimately affectionate with each other in line. One was scratching the other's back or whatever. It seemed very obvious they were romantically inclined. And I just thought it was interesting. I was like, I wonder what it's like for them if they know the story, and I wonder if there are employees of Chick-fil-A who feel a certain way, what it was like for them. And I was thinking about what I would do if someone came up and started giving them trouble because they were in Chick-fil-A, and I would stand up and tell those people to stop and that they have a right to eat wherever they want, and all of a sudden would it be on social media? And I think that was a bit melodramatic on my part, but it also made me think that there's so much power, and this isn't new. I am not the first person to say this. In fact, I'm not the 4 billionth person to say this. That bears repeating, I think. There's something so powerful in stopping to consider the experience of the other. I do not believe that the Bible can be used to tell two people of the same gender they are not allowed to love each other. And so I was on their side, so to speak, but even still, I have never had to think about what other people think of the fact that I'm at a Chick-fil-A with my lover, with my partner, my wife. I've never had to worry about that. And thinking about what it could mean for those two men to feel scrutinized or feel the eyes of others on them in a way that's uncomfortable and unfair. It was powerful for me to consider that again. I don't know that it didn't linger far into the enjoyment of my grilled chicken sandwich, perhaps to my discredit, but even in that single moment, it was important, I think, for me to remember the experience of the other. So, quick tip from me, as Atticus Finch advised all those years ago: walk a mile in someone else's shoes every now and then. Every now and then, or now and again. Either one, you pick. My name's Steven. This is Get Tucked, a Don't Trust This Man podcast. So I know you can't actually answer this question, but how was your day? How did you feel throughout the day? I wonder if some of you, one of you out there hearing this, felt slighted today, or hurt, disrespected, rejected, maybe ignored, discounted because of one of 1,000 reasons. If that's you, I'm sorry. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough living in a world that it's interesting to me, the things around which we've coalesced as a people, as a species. And again, these things aren't new, and there are far more intelligent and more eloquent individuals speaking to these things. But it's interesting that we've coalesced around certain social structures that don't actually do anything for us. And we have, by virtue of our fractured and poisoned political process, been set apart from each other by political leanings. We have become all at once afraid of and angry at each other at a level and a rate that makes me sad. Of course, I believe there's hope. I believe we are better than the things being done to us and said about us. We are better than the base. What I would say to you today, if in fact you were passed over, criticized, hurt, rejected, disappointed, what I would say to you is, I'm sorry. And what I would say to you is, none of the things that happened to you today can in any way diminish your value as a creation of God, as a child of God. I really do believe that. I want to be careful because for some of you, you might think that is so dismissive and flippant. You have no idea. And you're right, I don't. And so you should feel empowered and encouraged to delete this podcast and throw your phone across the room. Curse me to ruin. But for some others of you, I just want you to know nothing anybody says about you can actually diminish your value. You are worth so much. Well, I guess I just want you to be reminded. I don't always feel particularly valuable. I struggle in my own insecurities. I struggle to believe that I am providing value to those around me, or that I am worth the things that I have received, or that I'm doing enough to receive other good things, or good, or frankly, for other people to compliment or think highly of me. I get that struggle, but I believe it is true that as children of God, we are inherently, inestimably valuable. Psalm 55. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. Attend to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint, and I moan, because of the noise of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they drop trouble upon me, and in anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. Yes, I would wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. I would hurry to find a shelter from the raging wind and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, divide their tongues, for I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go around it on its walls, and iniquity and trouble are within it. Ruin is in its midst. Oppression and fraud do not depart from its marketplace. For it is not an enemy who taunts me, then I could bear it. It is not an adversary who deals insolent with. Yeah, that was insolently, by the way, apologies. It is not an adversary who deals insolently with me, then I could hide from him. But it is you, a man, my equal, my companion, my familiar friend. We used to take sweet counsel together. Within God's house we walked in the throng. Let death steal over them. Let them go down to Sheol alive. For evil is in their dwelling place and in their heart. But I call to God, and the Lord will save me. Evening and morning and at noon I utter my complaint and moan, and he hears my voice. He redeems my soul in safety from the battle that I wage, for many are arrayed against me. God will give ear and humble them, he who is enthroned from of old, because they do not change and do not fear God. My companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violated his covenant. His speech was smooth as butter, yet war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved, but you, O God, will cast them down into the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in you. May you even now be more fully and clearly aware of how much value you have and how valuable you are. And may you, I pray, have peaceful rest and sweet dreams.